Hello, welcome back to Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching. This is Erin. So, today's podcast, I'm going to talk a little bit about emotional intimacy. Now, I have coached couples, I've coached people who are in a relationship and they're being coached on their side, and then I've coached just like single people. But emotional intimacy is a huge topic. It is key for any sort of sustainable relationship because you need to know each other, right? So, emotional intimacy has everything to do with being aware and in touch with the subtleties that exist within you. If you're not in touch with those subtleties, which like emotions are subtle, right? So you can tune out your emotions. In fact, we do it all the time. We do it through different substances. We do it through social media. We do it through like just computer games, through um, people. Like we can get addicted to shopping, whatever. So there's different ways that we can kind of tune these sensations out. And I wanted to do a podcast today on how to tune back in. So this podcast, if you're watching it and you have trouble making contact with your emotions, then if you follow these steps, I'm hopeful that you can make contact with those emotions and the subtle sensations within you. And I want it to be less overwhelming. So there's a reason why we check out from our emotions, because they can be intense, right? Who wants to feel anger and shame and guilt? And in fact, when I teach my courses, and one activity that I've instructed before is I'll have people choose their least favorite emotion and their most favorite emotion, and I'll have them feel both. And I've had people say, like, why would I want to feel shame? Like, I've been avoiding shame. Like, you're telling me to feel shame? Like, why does that make sense? So, the reason why is because all emotions on the spectrum are meant to be felt. The problem comes in is when um, we get stuck in them. We get stuck in the emotion then and we ruminate on it. Then it's sort of like it's clenchy and we feel stuck and our energy stuck, and like we can't get the heart sort of processing the emotion. We can't get that flow of energy, which we can have with an open heart. So if we can hold space around the emotion like shame or guilt or rage, anger, these things, these emotions that people avoid, then it makes it much easier to process. So, for example, if I was like, here's a pretzel, please eat. And you're like, yum, I like pretzels. I was in Germany a couple of years ago and they gave us these pretzel necklaces. And I guess it was part of a pretzel festival. But I was like, hey, and my brain's like, pretzel, yum. And I started eating it. And I guess it was like a special pretzel that you weren't supposed to eat. And a German lady's like, don't eat that. And I was like, I ate it anyway. But anyways, let's say that I gave you a pretzel and I was like, here, eat this. And you're like, oh, this is good, but wow, it's like, it's dry. You got anything to drink? I'm like, nope, sorry, you're on your own. So if we're trying to process our emotions, like that dry pretzel, get like stuck, ugh, and it makes it much harder, less enjoyable, right? So imagine that love, like pulling that up first to process these tough emotions, is like having a glass of water or milk or some sort of fluid that's going to ease it down our throat and like into our belly, into our intestines. So it's going to lubricate, it's going to provide support and padding and like just a loving sheath so that these emotions can become a little less overwhelming. Because again, there's a reason we avoid them. They're intense. And if we haven't learned how to process them, we're going to avoid them even more. We're going to stuff them down. We're going to resist them, and we're going to like reach for other things. So in the Yoga Sutras, they say dukkha anushai dveshaha, sukha anushai ragaha. And this means that our greatest suffering comes from extreme aversion from things like, no, I don't want to. And then also suffering comes from, ooh, I want it. Ooh, I want it, like pleasure chasing, especially when it's out of hand. Not to say not to engage in life, but when we're avoiding ourselves or like craving for other things to prevent ourselves from feeling, that's where the problem comes in, right? So all of your emotions have a place, just case in point. So if we're avoiding those sensations within, then we're not going to be able to access ourselves. So the intimacy level that we have with ourselves, we might not know what we like. We might not really know what we want to do with our lives, what we want to do when we grow up. We might not know our needs. Certainly, again, emotions are more subtle. But you know what else is subtle? Your heartbeat. And so, if you are a person who struggles with emotional intimacy, I'm going to give you just like a quick little exercise or set of exercises that you can do to make contact. So, first things first is you're going to take deep breaths in and out through your nose and place your left hand over your heart. Just 5 deep breaths in and out through the nose with the hand on the heart triggers a parasympathetic nervous system response. Let's do it together. Ready? Inhale. Exhale. In. Breathe against your hand. Exhale. Two more. Last one. Now, if you're very wound up, feel free to pause this episode and take 5, 10, 15, 20, set a timer, take 5 minutes of that breathing. So do whatever you can so that you can feel balanced in your body. So once you have that parasympathetic nervous system activated and you feel like you're like, okay, I can feel my heartbeat. I want you to notice other things. And this might sound weird, but hang with me. Like, notice your hair on your head. Notice it. So this, like, your hair is always on your head, right? But like, you tune it out, right? Because you're focused on other things. So if we tuned into all of the sensations all the time, we probably go nuts, at least for me. So, but you have that sensation, right? Like, you're noticing your hair on your head. Okay. Now, notice your clothes on your skin. And if you're watching this naked, just notice the, like, whatever you're sitting on or what your feet are on or making contact with. That'd be really funny, actually, if you listen to this episode naked. But just assume that, let's just assume that you have some clothes on. So trace where your skin ends and where your clothes begin. Just kind of like, just notice. All of a sudden you can feel them, right? Ah, you came alive. Okay, so keep the breath going in and out through the nose. That's going to keep your nervous system relaxed. You're going to have thoughts pop up in your head. Even thoughts that are like, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? I don't want to. Just expect that that's going to happen because that's the ego kind of gripping down, and try to let go of it. Now, because you can feel your beating heart, I want you now to tune into more subtleties. So just scan through the body and just notice if you have any discomfort, any pain, any clenching in the body. Keep the breath going in and out through the nose. And as you scan through the body, just like hone in on like, okay, let's see, let's just say hypothetically around the rib cage, the lower ribs, I feel like, I don't know, it's uncomfortable, but I can't quite name it. I want you to just kind of mentally go in and just tune into the sensation. You can even place your hand on the area where you have the uncomfortable sensation. Now, if you're like, I don't want to be uncomfortable. Why are we doing this? Then you can tune into the area of your body that feels really good. So if I'm going to tune into my body and figure out what feels really good, honestly, my eyelids, for some reason, my eyelids feel really good. So I can put my hands there and then just like feel the pulsation, feel like your blood going. If your hand's on your belly, for example, notice your digestive system. Again, your ego is going to say, what is up with this like weird stuff? But the subtle sensations are going to help you understand yourself. It's more than just your body digesting your food. There is data and information that is being exchanged in your body. And let's just say that it can't compute in the mind most of the time. So if you can drop down into your heart, drop into your body, and stay with the sensations, breathing, you're going to start to feel like more at home within yourself. It's kind of interesting feeling. You just feel like, oh, wow, my anxiety's gone. Like, oh, wow, I don't actually feel like heaviness, which might be shame. So once you have tuned in with bodily sensation, then ask yourself, because a question creates a tension in the mind, ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? How am I feeling? And you might get some answer like, I'm feeling tired, I feel in pain, I feel stiff. So, and then ask yourself, what emotion am I feeling? And get curious, not from a place of like forcing or anger, and just notice if there's a resistance that comes up to exploring yourself and your emotions. And know that that could have come from childhood. It could have not been safe to have emotions, or certainly not talk about them. And just recognize that and just kind of hold that unconditional love around the space of the emotion. Now, if you just have so much resistance here and your mind just ping ponging back and forth, I want you to listen to the episode before this one about how to activate different mudras and how to activate unconditional love. I do a breakdown in that video. Pause this, watch that, come back to this, and then you can continue. Once, let's say that you've done that and you're like, oh wow, I just noticed, okay, what do I feel? I feel anger. I'm angry. Why am I angry? You might not have any idea about it, but it might just like come up, and it's not from here. It's like, you're like, oh wow, I know what that feeling is. And then epiphany happens. Oh, it's anger. Why am I angry? And then just like sit with it, because your brain's going to immediately want to like take it away and figure it out and overanalyze. Just stay with it. The thing is, it will start to answer itself. By staying in the sensation, your body is able to kind of dissolve and like break apart the frequency, because emotions have a particular vibration. So if you stay with it, if you stay in the resonance, it will start to change. It will start to shift. It will start to process. And as it processes, it kind of releases information. So it's like, like you sign a document and they're like, all right, we're going to release the information now. Like we're booking our place in Japan, and the guy won't release the address until we send him all the passport information. So I'm like, slide the passport information, give me that address. So once you do that, you can have access to information that you have within you. And again, your mind might be like, what is this? This is woo-woo stuff. But trust me that when you start to tap into this, you'll start to have epiphanies like, oh, like all of a sudden bubbles up like, oh my gosh, I forgot that memory. Like it's been buried inside of me because I've been disconnected from myself. And in this process, you might start to realize how much you disconnect from yourself. No shame. It's okay. There's a reason why we do this. It's in the culture. There's a lot of stimulation. We have unaddressed pain. We're trying to check out from. We're trying to protect, right? But truth be told is, if you connect with your emotions and you stay with them, and again, breathe to keep the energy going, bring your awareness down into your body, they will process fairly quickly, like 90 seconds. A lot of times people are battling like depression and sadness and shame for years, decades. But the truth is that if you connect with the emotion and you breathe and you get curious about it and don't resist it, right? If you're resisting it, go back to the prior video, come back, drop an unconditional love. That's going to help you to process. Once you process that emotion, you want to see like, what is the need underneath? Like, why was I angry? What was the need that was unmet underneath? Like, oh, I wasn't heard. I wasn't acknowledged. Oh, like having a sense of justice. These are common ones that are associated with anger. So like, ask yourself these questions. There's a great book, a great author. His name is Marshall Rosenberg, and he has a book on unconditional love and addressing needs. I don't know, I'm forgetting the name right now. But if you look up Marshall Rosenberg, you'll see that he has a lot of information about the language of needs. And emotions are tied to unmet needs, especially like the big, heavy emotions are usually unmet needs. The thing is, when we acknowledge that emotion, then we acknowledge the need, then we either meet the need ourselves or we invite somebody else to. It is like winning the lottery. Because why? And I say this and then I'm going to contradict it, but it's like, you can have all the money in the world, But if you don't know how to connect with yourself, how to express your feelings, your needs, how to be in a loving relationship, like your life is going to be kind of shallow and empty, right? So, what I mean by winning the lottery is like winning the spiritual lottery. So, if you have access to these spaces within you, then you're a lot happier, you're a lot more grounded, you're a lot more balanced. And the people around you are happier because they don't have to guess what your feelings are. And you can connect with them deeper and you can say, like, wow, I really love this person. Or, like, maybe I need to go in a different direction. And then epiphanies keep happening, like this sacred information you have within you. You're like, you know what? I actually really want to do this. Or like, oh wow, I never realized I wanted to have this creative pursuit. And it allows the energy to flow. Like once you start processing your emotions, it kind of like if your pipes are like clogged up, you have to like hire a plumber, costs a bunch of money. Bleh. So if you can learn how to do this work, it's like learning how to clean out your pipes. It's mental and emotional, spiritual hygiene. And it's important because if not, if you hold on to everything and these resentments and these belief systems, you become rigid, you become bitter, and you step further and further away from your true nature, which is joy, which is love. And even beyond yourself, the world needs people who are in love. The world needs people who can serve from that space of abundance rather than from depletion. And the best way to find that self renewing, recycling energy is to tap into unconditional love. And then once you're there, it's like, all right, the work is a lot easier, it's more sustainable, it's less overwhelming. And then we can come into contact with ourselves. So I hope that this video made sense. I think that the people that will be attracted to this podcast are ones who may have trouble with emotional intimacy. And that's why I recorded this. So I hope that this helped you. I hope you see the value in it. And just like anything, like you wouldn't have one personal training session and be like, I'm done. That's it. I did personal training. Look at me, all muscles, sun's out, guns out. It wouldn't be like that, right? It would be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this a couple times a week and then I'm going to see the benefits. Playing the piano, practicing yoga, like you need to put it in your routine. So it's the last thing I'm going to say about this is give it a chance. Give it a chance. Your mind is going to be like, yeah, right. Trust me. Trust, like, you have nothing to lose. This is a free podcast. All the stuff I'm teaching is free. So, like, what's the problem? You know, what's getting in the way? Why not? And ask yourself, why not? So that might be a good question for you. And then the next thing is say, like, okay, I'm going to put it in my calendar. Write in your calendar, set alarms, have it like at a certain time. And you can even have, like, if your life's a little chaotic, have a plan A and a plan B, but make it non-negotiable. I'm going to do this every day. It doesn't take very long. I'm going to do this every day, and I'm going to do this for 3 weeks or a month and just see where it takes you. So, to make change, we have to change ourselves, change our patterns, change our habits. And the stuff that I'm teaching you is life-changing stuff. Imagine if you didn't have to carry around shame or guilt or anger, like you'd feel a lot lighter, feel a lot better. Your health would probably be better, probably make better decisions. You'd probably be more pleasant to be around. So maybe more friends, more opportunities, right? And just like a lighter load. Why not? So I hope that this helps you again. I do have a retreat coming up in January called Activate Your Inner Healer, where I am teaching a lot of these techniques in addition to other techniques. I have stitched together so many wonderful ancient technologies with modern day cerebral and subconscious navigation, along with all the other stuff that I know, into a beautiful course, 5 days, 9 to 5 every day. And the price is much less than coach school. So if you're interested, reach out to me, Erin at erincoach.com. You can check it out on our website, thriveyogafit.com. I think that's it. Thank you and have a lovely day.